Tata is expanding its airbag recall, doubling the number of cars and trucks affected.
Yeah, the auto supplier now says 33.8 million airbags are defected, making it the largest auto recall in U.S. history. That is nearly double the amount of airbags previously covered in the U.S.
Takata says the chemical that inflates these airbags can explode with way too much force, which sends shrapnel flying through the car. So far, the defect responsible for 6 deaths and more than 100 injuries across the world. If you want to know if your car is involved in this recall, we've got a very simple way to check it out. It's on our website at WXYZ.com. Just go to our homepage on WXYZ.com, enter in your VIN, that's the vehicle identification number of your car, in the space provided on our website. It will tell you if your car is indeed included in this recall of Takata airbags. It's very important to know if it is indeed involved in the recall here so you can get that thing fixed.
Yeah, it is truly remarkable. It is an absolutely huge recall, and we want to talk more about this now with John McElroy of Autoline Detroit. John, so good to have you with us today. Let's start by asking you this. This has already covered millions of vehicles, as we mentioned. Now it has prompted this massive recall, the largest we've ever seen. What happened to bring it to this level?
Has been pushing Takata to do this for some time right now. The reason that Takata hasn't done it is with some reason. They're not going to be able to fulfill filling this recall for several years. So why initiate a recall if you can't get to it for several years? Because they have to build millions of these replacement airbags. Second thing is, nobody knows what's causing these airbags to fail. We don't know the root cause. Even though 10 automakers have gotten together to try and figure it all out, nobody knows why these things are failing. So again, why issue a recall if you don't really know what the fix is going to be? Nonetheless, they have issued the recall, and we know what's going on right now.
And John, why did it take so long to expand this recall? Do you think this is something that should have been done sooner?
Well, Stephen, you know, NHTSA has been pushing for Takata to do this. Takata's been trying to really drag its heels because it didn't see how it could really fulfill meeting this recall at this point.
Well, and you know, I remember earlier on in this process there was great talk about the recalls in hot weather states. I think of us now here in Michigan. We do get warm summers. People watching this right now, how important is this that people get this fixed as quickly as they can, although I guess some of this may be out of our hands, right, because of the parts?
It really is, and that's why Takata wants to do triage and really go after those areas that are hot and humid, especially down south right now. There's a big worry about that down there. But what I've been saying all along is, look, if you're very uncertain about this, and as we get into the hot and humid months here in Michigan, if you're really worried, there is a legal way to be able to disable your airbag, to literally turn it off. And remember, if you're wearing your seatbelt, you're going to be protected in almost any kind of accident. An airbag's really a supplement to using your seatbelt, but you have to do it legally. You just can't disconnect it yourself. If you go to NHTSA's website, there's a whole way of how you can go ahead and have a certified mechanic disable it.
Hey, John, you know how it is with recalls. A lot of people just kind of look at it and they say, yeah, okay, I'll get around to that, or yeah, I don't know if it's mine, and they kind of forget about it. Is this one of those that people are safe to ignore?
No, you're not safe to ignore this at all. And Stephen, you're absolutely right. People ignore a lot of things. And you know, if it's not an abject safety issue, I can see ignoring it. But this is, somebody once described it as having a shotgun pointed at your face, and you don't know when it's going to go off. This is really something that people have got to jump on. Oh, as I said, even though it might take several years to be able to fill up the pipeline with replacements, you can legally disable the airbag as long as you wear your seatbelt. You're probably going to be safe in most instances.
Wow, and that's actually something, John, you recommend here.
I have. I've recommended this from the very beginning, and NHTSA has a very specific procedure that you have to go through. You have to fill it out so that your mechanic, if they're honest, they will not do this on their own. They want to see that paperwork to make it legal so that they don't get into trouble themselves.
Yeah, it is just huge news today. 34 million. I heard someone from NHTSA say today that's like double the amount of cars we make in this country a year, to put it in perspective. So, John McElroy of Autoline Detroit, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.